We hope you're getting your day off to a great start Tuesday here at 6 o'clock. Also, 2 schools on 2-hour delays this morning, Daleville and Mount Vernon schools, and likely because of that fog in that area.
So they're going to take care of business just 2 hours later than they normally would this morning, Lindsay, because as you saw on that sky cam there, it's getting foggier this morning, Lindsay.
Yeah, fog is going to be one of the biggest concerns. It's going to linger over the next few hours. I also have gotten some messages asking about thunder in the area. And it's not storming, but I know this camera looks weird. We'll get out to that. Look how the top of that is.
Top there.
This is an eerie morning because I'm getting reports of folks seeing a fireball or hearing thunder in the sky around 4 o'clock this morning. So I just checked with the Meteor Society, and there were 20 reports from central Indiana, from Monrovia to Greencastle, just kind of all over. So if you have anything captured on your outdoor camera system or anything like that, send it to us. We want to check that out and confirm that. But yeah, no thunderstorms in the area, but perhaps we'll get some updates from the Meteor Society on what perhaps those reports are all linked to. Now, again, what an interesting image you got right there on your screen. This is downtown Indianapolis, where we've had this layer of fog settle in, reducing visibility basically all across central Indiana. We're at 42 right now. We've got this low level moisture that's trapped close to the surface as this weak wave has come through. Even a little bit of moisture associated with that might be in the form of some mist or drizzle. That's going to be about it from a precip standpoint. But again, it's going to really be that visibility concern out there that will be ongoing. So 42, your current temperature in Indy, 45 in Shelbyville. We're headed to 46 later today, mostly cloudy. Again, a foggy start to our day. We're going to talk more about some much colder air headed our way come tomorrow, but do want to get you out to the traffic center and continue to talk about and show you what this fog is looking like in some spots. We'll head out to the west side first. This is along I-70 at State Road 267. Very difficult to see here, especially out more rural and outlying locations where that low-lying cloud cover and some of that moisture has settled in close to the surface. So we're watching the fog. We're also watching the south side here. An earlier semi-fire still in the cleanup process is blocking that far right lane on I-65 southbound. This is near Whiteland. That is creating some stop-and-go traffic there. We'll keep you posted on this incident and when it clears and any new backups that develop around the metro.
Thank you, Lindsay. Actually, we're going to talk about that incident a little bit more now because we want to show you what it looked like earlier this morning. Again, as Lindsay just mentioned, that semi-truck fire in Johnson County cleared now, but this was the scene a couple hours ago overnight.
Yeah, you couldn't get through this area. Our crews, though, monitoring those INDOT cameras just as that truck caught fire on I-65. And as Lindsay mentioned, so far, no word on any injuries or other vehicles involved. We do know, again, that fire did close several lanes.
But they are back open for the most part this morning, as Lindsay just showed you a more up-to-date picture. But as you can see, this is why crews are lingering out there early this morning. We'll keep you updated as we learn more.
Well, this morning, IMPD detectives are looking for new details on the city's latest homicide. We had this for you as breaking news last night as it had just happened at 11.
Well, this morning we now know a man is dead and a woman is hurt after a shooting on the city's east side. This was at the Colonial Park Apartments off of East Washington Street. Let's get out to Matthew Foltz, who's following this story live this morning. Matthew, what have you learned overnight?
Well, Julia and Jalea, we're still working to learn if police have a motive in this shooting. However, we do know that police detained 3 people at the scene last night. However, so far, no official arrests have been made. Now, Metro Police tell 13 News that the shooting happened around 6:30 yesterday evening at an apartment building near the intersection of Euclid Avenue and Washington Street on the city's east side. Police say they found a man and woman at the scene who had both been shot. They were taken to the hospital in critical condition. That man later died at the hospital. Investigators tell us they believe an argument may have started before shots were fired. This morning, they're still working to find out just who pulled the trigger.
People need to learn to talk things out. Now, granted, I'll admit, even sometimes I'm not able to work everything out with everybody I talk to, so it's better to turn and walk away and revisit it another day. It's not worth resorting to violence in any manner, especially on guns.
Now, again, we are reaching out to police this morning to see if they have any updates on their investigation and a possible suspect. Meanwhile, they also want to hear from you. So they're asking anyone who may have heard the shots, seen anyone, to give police or Crime Stoppers a call. Of course, you can always remain anonymous. Meanwhile, Julia and Jalea, we also expect to learn the name of the man killed in just a few hours from the Marion County Coroner's Office.
Okay, thank you, Matthew.
It's 6:05. Right now, we're trying to figure out the condition of a man after firefighters rescued him after he was trapped inside of a burning home. At last check, we learned that man was in critical condition. That fire happened yesterday morning around 8 near State Street and Walker Avenue in Indianapolis. It's on the near southeast side.
Now, firefighters did find the man, who they say is in his late 60s or early 70s, barely conscious in that home. They were able to get him out through a window on the side, which didn't burn. Firefighters say 2 women started breaking windows to try and get him out before they arrived.
An Indianapolis man is awaiting sentencing this morning in connection to shooting and killing his rideshare driver. Devin Powell agreed to take a plea deal in this case, telling the judge yesterday that he did not want to go to trial.
Do you still wish to plead guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
So this case dates back to June of 2022. Police said that Powell got into a Lyft driven by Tony Garland. His body was later discovered a few hundred yards away from Powell's apartment. Prosecutors say that Powell murdered Garland and then drove off in his car. They tracked that car to Maryville, and that's where they say they found Powell behind and blood inside of the car.
Subsequent processing of the Acadia led to the discovery of the victim's wallet, Mr. Powell's wallet, and a 9mm semi-automatic pistol under the front seat of the Acadia. Bullets recovered from the autopsy of Mr. Garland were able to be matched to the pistol.
Under this plea deal, a second murder count and a robbery charge have been dropped in this case. Powell will be back in court next year for sentencing. New insight this morning. 4 women dropped a lawsuit against a former Indiana Attorney General, Curtis Hill. The women accused Hill of groping them during a party in 2018. Well, they've now dropped their civil lawsuit against him, saying that they reached the, quote, frustrating conclusion that Hill never took responsibility for intentionally touching them in a sexual manner without their consent. Hill has denied the allegations, and he released a statement saying there was no settlement. He went on to say, quote, the case against me was dismissed with prejudice by each of the plaintiffs, thus ending this odyssey of unfounded allegations that have dogged me for nearly 7 years and have served as the fuel for political and personal attacks against me. Hill tried to revive his political career with a run for Indiana's 2nd Congressional District after the death of Jackie Walorski. He was defeated in that run. He also tried to run for governor in this latest election, but finished last in the GOP primary.
This morning, the city of Indianapolis is expanding its mental health response team.
This is a group of people tasked with de-escalating and intervening without involving police.
For more than a year, the clinician-led community response team has been stationed downtown and particularly on the east side. They're available 24/7, dispatched to non-violent emergencies.
With this expansion, now those resources are coming to the north side.
So meeting people in the community with accessible mental health services is monumental for the city of Indianapolis.
And having that collaboration with CLCR has just been priceless.
Well, city leaders chose the north side because of the number of calls for mental health help in the area, and the expansion is set to happen early next year. Well, this morning, the outgoing Syrian prime minister is now in talks with the rebel group HTS on a transfer of power.
So this comes, of course, after the rebel group toppled the rule of President Bashar al-Assad and his family's dictatorship over the country for 50 years. The former president and his family are now seeking refuge in Russia. Syrians ransacked the former dictator's palace.
Thousands of political prisoners are now released from Assad's notorious jails, and now U.S. leaders are questioning who will now lead the country and if the regime change could create a power vacuum for other terrorist groups.
We will not allow ISIS to use this moment to regroup and relaunch terrorist attacks that threaten the interests of the United States.
Meantime, there are U.S. officials working to find and free freelance American journalist Austin Tice. He has been detained in Damascus by Syria since 2012. So far, a U.S. hostage envoy is hoping to learn more about his whereabouts and his safety.
We're also hearing from a Hoosier man who has family in Syria after rebels captured the capital on Sunday.
There's been an outpouring of emotions as Syrians now believe they have a future to look forward to. Dr. Ahmad Bashir says no one really saw this coming, and it's nothing short of a miracle for his people. Basha was born in Detroit but lives here in Indianapolis. His parents are from Syria, and he has watched how his family still lives there and struggled under the dictatorship.
Everyone I know, I mean, we just break down into tears, and you know, it's sort of pinching ourselves, and then we're slowly processing and coming to the realization this is happening.
Basha says he understands why some people might have anxiety and worry about the future of the country now, but he says it's too early to tell what the future will hold, but he is choosing to remain cautiously optimistic.